Alright, this is an Age of Empires 4 coaching session for Booze Owen, who is on Reddit. And he played this ranked match on Prairie and was wondering, how did they lose this game? They basically wiped one opponent out, and then Pink's able to push back, and the other team's able to win the game. So we've got Japanese, Order of the Dragon against English Japanese. And I did speed through this game, so I have an idea of what happened. We're not going to watch the whole 50 minutes here because I have already seen what occurs. So there's going to be small nitpicky things. There's going to be bigger, broader strategy and key takeaways. So we are going to speed through this first part, especially. Very, very small nitpicky thing that's quite important is taking your sheep and putting them under the town center. We'll watch red for this specifically. Two things at the beginning here. One is your scouting pattern. Not sure why the mini map looks like that. There we go. So one's your scouting pattern. What's your team scouting pattern? Are you going out and you're going to get everything out here, and red's going to get the back and then circle around, or are you both going out? Red kind of does a walk to the back and then go out to the front. So I would just kind of talk about as a team how you are going to scout the map. We always want to move these sheep under the town center. Something we'll see is we get sheep far away from the town center, and something specifically to hit on for red to work on and get better at is villager idle time. And I don't mean your villager standing there not doing something. I mean your villager walking long distances. And here it's a short distance. But if you had these sheep under the town center, these villagers wouldn't have to walk back and forth. You would be surprised, but you gain a lot of food from doing so. You see how far away these sheep are from the town center? It's kind of like needless villager idle time. His villagers would be more efficient if the sheep were closer to the town center. So I'm going to slow down to 2-speed. While you are aging up, I want to look at both your landmarks. One, red goes with Meinwerk Palace. Acts like a blacksmith. Technology research here costs minus 50%. Research 50% faster. So, red. Speaking to the red player here, will you build a blacksmith later on? You already have a blacksmith with this landmark. That's the purpose of going Meinwerk. So you never build a blacksmith other than using the Meinwerk. You want to do your researches at the Meinwerk Palace. That's the purpose. Blue with your Kura Storehouse. This is not a good placement for the Kura Storehouse because farms are blocked by the stone mine and farms are also blocked by your town center here. I would have liked to see you place the Kura Storehouse on the other side where an entire ring of farms could have been created around it. The problem we'll see here is you really only get a few farms around it, and then it can't produce any more farms. So we want a better placement of this landmark. General broad strategy here is both of you guys fight in feudal on 1TC, which I'm not a fan of that strategy for a couple of reasons. There's a few things, especially in team games, you can think about is if we both stay in feudal and fight on 1TC, and I know you eventually age up, but I'm just talking at the beginning. What happens if the enemy decides to outscale us? So the enemy didn't necessarily do a great job in this game, but if one of them had gone fast castle, or we see pink go 2TC, Tink vastly outscales you guys in eco because you don't go 2TC and make more villagers, and you don't go fast castle, so you don't grab all the relics on the map, which kind of makes up for the lack of villagers. So that's something we want to think about is like, what's your broad strategy? What do you want to achieve? If you guys are playing Japan Order of the Dragon, I would like to see one of you guys go fast castle, one of you guys make feudal units and cover the other one. Or depending on the Civ matchup, Like maybe Japan goes to TC, red makes a few units to cover you going to TC, and that's how you do it. So, but we got to do something other than both guys fight in feudal with one town center. If you're trying to get better at the game, it's going to be hard to progress that way. The only way you would win games going both players 1 TC and building feudal units is if you went all in and you killed both enemies. Because like they're gonna outscale you, right? Like you both have one town center and are feudal. A few things with red's macro here, which I am not trying to pick on red, but this is something that when I was watching the video becomes a huge issue. He makes villagers out of this town center, and it takes them about 15 or 20 seconds to walk from this town center all the way to this wood line, which that is a lot of dead villager time, as in time villagers are not working. And I think he would do this because he's worried about a pink longbow rush. But he's built horsemen here. So one, red, you can scout when the longbows are coming across. They're quite slow and pick them off with the horsemen. And this wood is completely unprotected. So at least the wood by your town center is under your town center fire, right? This wood is totally unprotected. So and it takes a long time to walk out there, so we need to be using the wood close to our town center early in the game. Again, I would kind of like to see this outpost placed further out in front. I don't love the kind of back placement. Another kind of big, I would say big mistake you make, blue, is you attempt a tower rush here, which I would not recommend attempting in this situation. Like normally when you're going to see a tower rush, it would have been very early in the game where the opponent doesn't have units or something to respond to you with, and you pull 4 villagers out here to build an outpost. It's kind of like too late in the game to be attempting a tower rush like that. Like if someone just makes units, they're going to push you out of here, and that's exactly what ends up occurring. Yeah, I would like to see red continually raiding with horsemen. He has a lot of time where the horsemen sit back here. And we're going to watch another kind of villager idle time thing here of when you... Only 8 villagers can harvest boar, so he pulls out 12 villagers. You just need to shift queue the villagers to kill the boar, and then the villagers that are idle afterwards, like, send them to another resource. So this is kind of where you get pushed back on. And again, like, he's got more villagers. He can just... It's kind of a crappily placed tower, but he could have placed the tower farther out. Again, bad tower, but... They push you out of here, they'll kill 4 villagers. So at this point of the game, we're about 10 minutes in, and we kind of want to look at, like, what's the game plan? Y'all's game plan has been, like, 1 TC, make units. Red has units, but he needs to raid. Let's see where they're at. Pink's on 2 TC, so he's going to outscale you. I don't know if y'all have scouted that he's on 2 TC, but you need to, because in your mind that kind of needs to click like, okay, we need to kill Pink immediately because he's going to have more villagers than us, or we need to do something similar. And one of us needs to build a second town center and also make more villagers. Or one of us needs to go castle immediately and get castle units so we can kill Pink. Maybe you do both. We're going to see both of you. I think one of the key reasons y'all lost this match was from floating resources. So, Blue, you've got a lot of food and wood right now. Maybe you're saving up food to go castle, so I get that. But a lot of wood. A lot of wood. You only got 5 guys on wood, so it's not like you've got way too many guys on wood or anything. It's just you're not spending it on anything And if you're not spending it on anything, why gather it? Just send them to gold and go to castle age. He comes in here, helps you clean up. That was decent. So, another kind of key thing when you're Japan, and I would like to see you go fast castle first, but you got to think about upgrading your TC here. So, once you get a castle, I'd love to see you upgrade your TC immediately. You get a free villager, and you can build a bannerman samurai, which is very important if you're going to go melee infantry. Your katana bannermen will increase their damage. If you're going to go mounted samurai, which I think probably would have been a very good call here, either that or you mass samurai and Onobageshu. I don't know what the bannerman for the stable is called, but he would increase the damage of your horsemen and mounted samurai. If you go archery range here and you get a Yumi bannerman, he would increase the damage of your Yumis. So again, I kind of want to think about unit comp and why we go archery range here. I don't 100% understand why you built archers in this situation. So we know they're building some spearmen. I got it. But red can build archers. He's got gilded archers. Those are very good archer units. They really don't even have many spearmen. They have kind of a smattering of spearmen and then some samurai. So if I were you here and you hit castle, and I would have just made more barracks and killed. You know you've got the advantage on yellow because you're going to have veteran samurai and Onobageshu, which I know you do kill yellow, but I would have just made barracks and spammed them. That's what I would have done. And then red could have just made any archers to finish off the spearmen. So the key thing we're going to see here in this game is you're about to kill the crap out of yellow, and pink's going to sit over here and outscale you eco-wise, and then he's going to beat you. Another reason pink is able to do this is, one, he has not been threatened this game, so he's been able to sit back, execute his build order, do what he needs to do. And the second thing is, as you guys start attacking, you start floating massive amounts of resources. So we want to look at blue and red here, how many resources you're going to float once you start attacking. Red's TC is going to be idle a lot when you guys attack. Oh, actually, a lot. He's at 40 eco right now. And by the time you finish killing yellow's base, he will have less economy from that. And I think it's because of this bitey infantry. So, a few things on general strategy is if you're attacking and you're killing enemy villagers, feels like you're winning the game. You're not winning the game if you don't have your eco and your macro at home in order. And that's because if you're not making villagers, you're not keeping your economy pumping, you're not spending your resources at home when you're attacking, you're kind of just breaking even. Like, you're killing their villagers, but your economy is also kind of down the crapper. So we need to make sure red's making villagers. That's key. We need to make sure red, again, I'm not sure why he gets stone in this situation, but we need to make sure red makes resource deposits. So we need a mining camp here, even though I would, maybe he's going 2 DC, but once you get enough stone, you just send these guys to wood, right? We need to make sure we have lumber camps near the guys who are chopping wood. This lumber camp's much too far away for either of these deposits right now. Need to make sure a mill is closer to berries. I know this is nitpicky stuff, but it hurts red's economy when he does not have resource deposits nearby and he's got to walk, because he hasn't gotten economic upgrades, especially wheelbarrow. So again, if you're going to play a long feudal, which red's doing here, we at least need to get wheelbarrow. And when we got the boar earlier, we probably should have gotten survival techniques. A lot of guys on wood, if you're going to make archers, if you've got more than 10 workers on a resource, get the eco upgrade. That does not apply if you're going fast castle and you're just trying to get a castle age. But if you're in feudal making units and you got more than 10 workers on something, get the economic upgrade. Huge no-no here, which I talked about earlier, is we're getting technologies out of the blacksmith when we built the Meinwerk Palace. Like, we're spending 50% more resources and time to research these technologies in the blacksmith when we could just research them in the minework. It costs 50 food and 125 gold for this tier 1 technology in the blacksmith. It costs 25 food, 63 gold in the minework. So we need to make sure we're using our landmarks correctly. If you're not sure what it does, that's totally fine, like if you're learning the game, but you kind of want to read and make sure exactly what the purpose of the landmark is before you put it down. Blue. Let's see what we can find on blue. Again, Kura Storehouse. It can't spawn more farms in its radius because we've got other buildings and resource deposits in the way. What I want to see more from you if you hit Castle Age is grabbing all these relics on the map. Relics and sacred sites. You hit Castle Age, you get relics, then you get sacred sites. I would love to see that. I, again, would probably like to see you go Castle Age a lot earlier. I actually do kind of like it's a bit cheeky that you get out here and start getting the berries since you're pushing. But with both of you, you can see your resources in the top left out here. As this battle goes on in Yellow's base, your team will end up floating about 8,000 resources. So if you were sitting across from me and right now and you said how we lose the game, I would say you floated 8,000 resources at about 20 minutes, and then Pink kind of kicked your butt because he had more eco and was spending his resources. So we're going up 4 speed. We'll watch you kill the base here, and I just want you guys to see kind of when you're attacking that y'all aren't paying as much care to your at-home eco. I mean, Red's got 25 idols somewhere. Not making villagers 25 idols. So conversely, you know, I know I'm picking on you some. Y'all are doing a great job on killing Yellow. It's just you want to capitalize on that. If you're killing this guy, like, let's make sure the things at home are, the eco at home is going well. So you don't have bannermen out here, blue, because you haven't upgraded your challenge center, which is a pretty big mistake. That's what makes the Yumi archers as good as a normal archer, is having the bannermen out here, even though, again, I would really love to see it on the samurai. So y'all kill Pink's army a few times here, but he's got more economy than you, and that's what's going to end up getting you. Yeah, this bitey infantry is going to town. You see that guy? So we saw Red was at 40 villagers earlier. He's at 30, 38. Now he's at 39. So during this offensive, Red has lost villagers without getting raided because of a bitey infantry who is relentless back here. My God, he's going to get another one. Oh God, there's 2 of them. Sorry, I'm picking a little fun here, but this is serious. If you don't get the wolves killed back here, they're going to kill all your villagers. And that's what kind of gets Red here, is not making villagers consistently and letting the wolves kill them. It's like y'all wipe Yellow off the map here, but Red's still on 38 villagers. Gonna have less because they're gilded, but that's not good. And this is when we start really seeing the resource float happen. If you look at blue and red's eco. And like, yeah, you're killing Yellow, but when you have to fight the final boss here, if we had spent, I mean, Red could just drop a keep somewhere, right? Like, if y'all wanted to come over here, Red pull some villagers and drop a keep to help y'all with this push in. He's got the stone. He's got a lot of men-at-arms. I think the key thing here is y'all don't really have anything to kill the men-at-arms. You have samurai, but he's also got crossbows, so he can front your samurai and shoot the samurai down with crossbows, front them with men-at-arms. You've got a lot of gold, so you could throw it on the market, buy some food if that's what's really hurting you. And red, man, red either needs to spam a lot of units. Honestly, red just needs to go Castle Age here. He's got a lot of resources. He's collecting way too much stone. He's got a lot of guys on wood because he's making archers, which is fine. But probably want to see him go castle here. Unless y'all are going to win the game right here, which you could, but you need more units. So a couple key things when you're going in this last battle is you have one ram but no other siege. And you know this pink guy's in Castle Age. So like he's going to have a decent army, right? Like he's on 2 town center in Castle Age. And he's English, which means he's going to have the network of castles. So he has plus 20% attack speed. So you want to kind of come in here with overwhelming force. You don't want to kind of come in here and see if you can win the fight. You want to come in here with overwhelming force and shut this guy down. And unfortunately, y'all don't do that here. He's just got the troops. He's going to keep making them. He's got his unit producers. He's got a lot of barracks. He's going to keep spamming men-at-arms, and he's going to overwhelm you guys here. And this is the game, in my opinion. And we can see how many resources are floated by the team still. So you have a lot of guys on food, but red's got to have more than 5-6 guys on food here. He's farm transitioning now, but just pull some of these guys off wood to go to the berries. Go get the boar if blue's not using it. And we'll go 8 speed here, but pink's kind of taking control of the game now. And if pink had just pushed here, he would have had you. You do finally upgrade your town center. So, yeah, I would say key takeaways. We kind of went through the game there in general. Key takeaways are really macro and villager idle time. Villager idle time more so for red. Paying attention to our villagers, making sure we have our depots. You know, he mined 1,400, 1,500 stone off this without a mining camp. That's not ideal. Doesn't have any of the economic upgrades. Those are all pretty important. You're 24, 25 minutes into the game, you're floating 1,400 gold. Just get all the horticulture, wheelbarrow, survival techniques, double broad axe, specialized pick. You should have those. Again, we want to make sure we're using our Meinwerk Palace. And since we don't even have level 1 horticulture or wheelbarrow, these farms are not going to be nearly as effective as they should be. I think if red had been castle and we had gone into pink's base with overwhelming force and siege equipment, maybe we win that battle. But if you look at villager count, pink's on 85. Blue is actually now on 70, which is good. Red's got dragon villagers, so he's going to have less, but he's only on 42. Which is not so hot. And blue, we want to make sure we grab relics. Looks like you have 1 right now, but we can see there's still 2 out on the map out here. A sacred site. Third sacred site's in a bit of a odd spot. So what's always key in team games is since you can't really kill one guy, he can just come back here and start making new units. So if pink can cover yellow for long enough, yellow's going to start... That is terrible trade. It's 11 gold. But if pink can cover him long enough, like he can get back into the game. And if y'all have not paid attention to your eco and gotten your eco up to where it needs to be, then it's easier for him to get back in the game. Blue, yeah, I would just say with the Kura Storehouse, you kind of wanted it in a better position over here earlier in the game. And I mean, I thought there were a lot of things y'all did well. I would just say broad strategy wise, I don't really like the strategy of you both go 1 TC and make units in feudal. I don't think that's really like a key to success for Japan and Order of the Dragon. That's not really what those civs do. Uh, I would be fine with Order of the Dragon. Like, y'all can do it however you want, but, you know, Japan go 2 TC, Order of the Dragon make units, or Japan goes fast castle, Order of the Dragon makes units, or Japan makes units, Order of the Dragon goes fast castle. Y'all need some sort of synergy with your build here. And again, blue macro wise, you just got way too much gold. You've got 3,100 gold, so let's see where you're at with your upgrades. I think you've done decent with your upgrades here. Looking through the blacksmith you have, so since you've been doing a lot of that, I would just, you need to get your Katana Bannerman for sure. Looks like you do have him in there now, but I would have gotten him much earlier. But yeah, I would just buy. You don't have to spend all 3,100, but I would buy a little food here if I were you. And since you know Pink's been on 2 town center all game, you really might need a second town center at this point. So those are kind of my key takeaways. I'll put them in the description, but if you have any questions for me, just feel free to let me know. And I hope this video has helped. I think if y'all work on your broad strategy, your macro, making sure you're always producing villagers, making sure you're getting your technologies, making sure your villagers are not idle, especially with red, then y'all will be playing a lot better as a team.